What made me want to be a librarian? So I have wanted to be a librarian almost as far back as I can remember. When I was a really small child, I would tell people I wanted to be a concert pianist because I play the piano, but I learned pretty early on that I didn't want to have to practice enough to be a professional musician, and so librarianship seemed like an obvious fit. I spent a lot of time at the library, I read a lot of books, I was very interested in organizing things and helping answer questions for people, and so in talking to librarians over the course of, the time from when I was in maybe junior high until when I was in college applying for library schools, everything that I learned about the profession really let me know that I was headed in the right direction. And so for the past 20 years, that's the path I've been following, and I'm pretty happy with it. What does my job entail here at the library? So my title is reference archivist, and so I answer reference questions. I work our reference desk, and I also work with our archival collections. So we're the music library in Bill Shirk Sound Archives, and we have a sound archives as part of that. So that's roughly 1 million, mostly commercial, popular music recordings. But we also have manuscript collections. We have collections of realia and posters and other types of materials that work with the sound recordings to document the history of popular culture and popular musical culture. So I work with some of those collections. I supervise our students, or some of our students. I work with our digital projects, and then I do a whole handful of other things. I help organize events. We're a fairly small unit, so we all do a little bit of everything. What do the other people on staff do? So like I just said, we all do a little bit of everything, but there are currently 3 other full-time staff members here in the music library. So Susanna Cleveland, who is our head, she runs things. She supervises all of the rest of us. She makes sure that the department runs. She's also currently chair of our special collections department, so she supervises all of the other faculty in that unit or in that department, and sort of sets the direction for all of the rest of our work. Patty Falk is our music metadata and catalog librarian, and so she does a lot of our catalog records, our metadata work. So essentially what that means is she describes the things in our collection so that other people can find them. So if you want to come into the library and search for something, she's done a lot of the work behind the scenes to make that possible. Dave Lewis is our sound archivist, so he, much like Patty, does some cataloging. He also works a lot with our sound archives collection, so he does a lot of digitization, turning some of our older formats into digital files. Some of the older formats don't last that long. They're especially tapes, the nature of the format is that it doesn't last forever. And so we have been working on projects to digitize those, make sure that they're available in the future. But like I said, we all do a little bit of everything. So everybody works on the desk, everybody answers some reference questions, everybody gets involved in a lot of the projects that we have going on, everybody works with the students. My favorite parts of my job are getting to work with the public. So I really love it when I don't love it when someone comes in frustrated, but I love it if someone comes in frustrated, if I can help make them no longer frustrated. Or if somebody's really looking for a needle in a haystack and I can find that needle for them, that really makes my day. I also like getting to work with students, both the students that I supervise and the students who come and use the library. I think college students are at a really interesting point in their life, and being able to use my experiences to make that part of their lives easier in whatever way I can, I think is really rewarding. I like working on our digital projects, I think, because that makes our collections more accessible for the public. I'm really interested in improving the ways that our collections are accessible to people everywhere, and making sure that everybody knows that they can come and use them and that we're really here for them. The least favorite part of my job? That's a good question. I like most of my job. I really hate it when things are broken. And I think that goes back to access, because when things are broken, it's harder for people to use things. But yeah, it's nice to be able to come up with a solution, but it's frustrating when things aren't working in the first place. And that doesn't happen too often.